So long as like Alchemy.
Written off after one of their two towers toppled down midway through the season, the boys in the Bayou had a different plan. A crucial acquisition, a change of pace, and a potential MVP. They fought their way late into the playoffs and now find themselves peaking at just the right time. Are the Blazers choke artists, or are the Pels for real? What lies ahead will leave no doubt to that question. An injury-riddled and disinterested season from the defending champs has lifted the aura of invincibility. Can New Orleans shock the world? Now, it's not often a team can step on the floor with the dubs and claim to have the best player. Enter the Brow. How do you guard a player that can seemingly do it all? All right, y'all, let's really put your sports knowledge to the test. Because in hindsight is 2020, right? Everybody wants to say they saw the Pelicans sweeping the Blazers, or I called that game, I'm guilty of it too. Well, now here's our opportunity to prove it. Introducing Boom Called It, the newest app from the Apple App Store. Once you download it, not only is it a way to just check live scores, it's a way for you to predict the outcome and prove to your friends how much you really know about these sports. Now here's the best part. For each outcome that boom you call, you get BCI, points, depending on the underdog or the favorite. There's leaderboards, and the top of those leaderboards are rewarded. Now, moving forward, as we build this community, I'm gonna hold competitions between my subscribers. Who can beat your boy Alk on the leaderboards? So if you want a chance to challenge me in your sports knowledge, go ahead and download Boom Called It right now. Well, even great players have tendencies and preferred weapons of choice. Understanding those is step one. AD will step out and shoot the mid-range and the three ball, but his preferred weapon is using his length and athleticism at the rim. He wants you to crowd him on the perimeter because it makes it easier for him to slice to the rim. Now, if you gap him, that's fine, he'll shoot the jumper too. But again, this is about taking away preferred weapons, and he wants to get to the rim and dunk and use that world-class athleticism. Now, AD being a big, he's not a primary ball handler, so a lot of the work is done before he has the ball. And when battling for position in either the mid or post, a lot of players try to overpower him and push him out. But AD's very smart, and he plays to his strengths. He's not the most physical or strong player. He has a high center of gravity. So if you pay attention, he doesn't put up much fight in post positioning. In fact, he invites the front or three-quarters front, and he'll allow himself to get pushed off the block. But this is all by design. One, it's saving him energy trying to battle with stronger bigs, and two, it's allowing the pass to come over the top and he can use his length and athleticism to catch. By being pushed further out on the block, it creates more space behind him for the pass and more room to operate once he catches. Now, when he does catch the ball, he's not looking to overpower you. He's looking to go by you, or more than likely over you. One tendency I noticed is he's a two-footed planter. He likes to jump stop before he elevates, which does buy the defender a little more time, but he's not too worried about it because no one's gonna catch him at his apex. So you're not going to block his shots. The better strategy is to beat him to his launch points. Make him elevate off balance by sucking up his space and beating him to his spots. Easier said than done, I know. But think of it as if you were fighting John Jones. The more space you give him to strike, the less chance you have at stopping him. Now don't get it twisted, you're not gonna stop Anthony Davis, but what you can do is make it a war of attrition. It's not about his game 1 or game 2 numbers, but it's about how did he get those numbers? How hard did he have to work to get his 30 or 40 points? And then by game 6 or 7, how much juice is left in Anthony Davis's legs? So how do you do this? Multiple defenders and physicality. You've got to make him feel you. Now, the obvious matchup is Draymond Green, and I think he will spend the majority of the time on Anthony Davis. We know Draymond doesn't have the length to compete with him around the basket or even truly contest his perimeter shot, but he has the defensive instincts, the timing, and the physicality to make Anthony Davis expend more juice than he would like per possession. The keys for Draymond are going to be stay connected. Again, don't let him play out in space You must know where he is at all times in transition. Rondo will look to throw several lobs, and again, the fronting. They're going to try to throw it over the top, especially with a smaller defender like Draymond. He's got to stay connected and aware at all times. Yield the perimeter shot. Do not let him get to the rim. And when you foul him, you've got to foul him hard. Now, I talked about making this a war of attrition and throwing multiple looks at Anthony Davis. He'll adjust. You can't keep giving him the same look. And this is where my X factor comes into play. Jordan Bell. Now, he hasn't played at all really in these playoffs, and I know Warrior fans have been salivating to see the explosive rookie. But styles make fights, and this style fits Jordan Bell. We talked about Anthony Davis at his core being a finesse athlete, and so putting a power player, a stronger, slower player in front of him is exactly what he wants. Putting the speedy, athletic, and aggressive Jordan Bell on Anthony Davis may not stop him, but it may make him work harder and have to change up his style at times during the series. Now, Durant and Looney will all take their turn on Anthony Davis during the series, but ultimately he's going to get his. So you could argue the most important matchup is one Jrue Holiday. Where did this dude come from? Very rarely do you see a player take such a leap forward at this point in their career. If Jrue Holiday was a running back, he'd be Le'Veon Bell. Both of their games are based off patience, change of pace, and explosion. Jrue, just like Bell, will very patiently wait for the lane to open up and then explode at the right moment using his strength. Offensively, everything is done on his time and at his pace. Beating you with timing and strength, I think it's imperative that the Warriors use a bigger defender on Jrue Holiday. You saw him destroy the small backcourt in Portland all of round one. That is why I think Golden State will continue to start Andre Iguodala regardless of the chef's return and hand him the assignment of Jrue Holiday. Now, what also makes Jrue a very good offensive player is his lack of predictability. He doesn't have a lot of tendencies you can lean on as a defender. He kind of reads what you're doing and then counter strikes off of the defense you're playing. You have to stay patient, and again, you need to put size on him, otherwise he will play bully ball all the way to the rim against smaller guards. Now, the other intriguing part about the Jrue Holiday matchup is, in the previous regular season matchups, Alvin Gentry has chose to use Jrue Holiday on Kevin Durant defensively. So, another key to neutralizing Jrue Holiday's offensive output is to make him work on defense. Gentry clearly likes his strength, and history has shown Durant doesn't like smaller defenders in his pocket. But whether it's Durant, Clay, or eventually Steph Curry, whoever he's guarding must attack him and keep him working on the defensive end. Next up, Rondo. We all know who Rajon Rondo is. I don't have to go into depth about his skill set. Now, I want to state that it is well known that Rajon Rondo is a basketball savant as far as IQ. His video work, his scouting is better than most coaches in the NBA. So with that said, Kevin Durant's pocket passes, Steph Curry's hook passes out of the pick and roll, the cuts, the routes that Clay runs, Rondo will have them all scouted and will be anticipating every pass. Draymond in the post, he'll be jumping the passing lanes. He's ultra aggressive defensively and then pushing the pace offensively. The key here for Golden State will be make Rondo a scorer. It's a difficult task to ask because it really goes against your instincts as a defender, and it's going to take discipline to do so. Rondo has the clutch gene. He'll hit a three here, he'll drive and fool you for a layup there, but you have to stay disciplined to the scheme of allowing him to be a scorer. How this can be done is by, one, going under every pick and roll no matter where it is. Dare him to shoot over the screens, and two, don't switch them or trap them. Stick to the shooters. Again, Rondo's shooting is always option B or C. It's never option A in his mind, so make it option A and play the percentages. Another advantage of having him out on the floor for heavy minutes, it allows Golden State to hide their weaker defender on him because he isn't the scoring threat, or we're daring him to score. So i.e. Quinn Cook or Steph Curry should be guarding Rondo when they're both on the floor. Now, he may not be a shooter, but he puts a lot of pressure on your transition defense. Being one of the truly elite passers in the NBA, he's capable of making a 40 or 50-foot bullet pass down the court without a dribble. And so what that does is it forces Golden State's defenders to be aware for 94 feet. You have to have your head on a swivel or the ball may come ripping past you for an easy dunk via Rondo. Styles make fights, and this is a much different team stylistically to the San Antonio Spurs. And as big of an impact as JaVale McGee had in this round one series, I expect it to be Jordan Bell having the impact in this series. If you look at Nikola Mirotic, the midseason acquisition, the flame-throwing three-point shooter who is a 7-footer, is not a traditional big man. He's going to play on the perimeter. Asking JaVale to come out and play on the perimeter is cause for concern, and that's where Jordan Bell steps in. Mirotic, with his height and release, he can get off the three even when contested. The key is to stay connected and in his face because he's very adept at a pump fake or a one dribble left and pull up for the three. Where he can be exploited is in transition. He moves his feet more than admirably in the half-court switching and pick-and-roll situations. But up and down the court with the pace that the Pelicans play, if a Jordan Bell is in the game, running the floor could be a problem for Mirotic. Now, in that first-round matchup, Alvin Gentry simply outcoached Terry Stotts. The hard-trapping defense, they took a look at Portland and realized they were the worst assist team in the league. So reliant on their backcourt, they hard-trapped Dame and McCollum and completely neutralized Portland's offense, daring their other non-shooters to shoot the ball. Now, to employ this strategy against a healthy Golden State would be suicide. But if Steph Curry is not going to be playing in this series, the Pelicans could look at this situation the very same way. You take away the two main scorers in Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and dare the rest of the Warriors to try to score. Then the question becomes, does Golden State get enough shooting from the others? Is Iguodala hitting the three? Does Nick Young give us something? Is Quinn Cook ready to contribute? Now, until Steph returns, the brunt of this offensive load falls on the shoulders of Kevin Durant. We know this. The keys to the series for him will be efficiency from the three-point line and limiting the turnovers. As I mentioned before, the scouting that Rajon Rondo does in this aggressive defense, the pocket pass out of the pick and roll will be stolen over and over again if Kevin Durant chooses to use that. With his height and size, it'd benefit him greatly to pass the ball over the top using his strengths rather than bounce passes for the quick and small guards to gobble up. Three-point shooting. If you watch the matchups with Anthony Davis uses his length as a defender, meaning he always gives space and then recovers and challenges late, which will open up the three ball for Kevin Durant. Now, whether he's hitting it or not will go a long way in determining this series. Defensively, Golden State needs to live by the law of the 3 M's. And what I mean by that is Miller, Mirotic, and Moore. All spot-up three-point shooters need to be run off the three-point line at every opportunity. They'll shoot contested threes, but testing them to put the ball on the floor and penetrate to the rim is playing the percentages the correct way. That leads me to rim protection. And if you paid attention to that first-round matchup, the Pelicans absolutely destroyed the Blazers in the paint, shooting a high percentage. And once again, the brunt of this responsibility will fall on Kevin Durant, who at one point in the regular season was leading the league in blocked shots. And as the second half of the season began and into this first round of the playoffs, less and less did we see Kevin Durant protecting the rim. Well, he'll need to change that in this series. For the Pelicans, their others must continue to contribute and shoot well from behind the arc. Jrue Holiday and Anthony Davis single-handedly decapitated the Blazers, but against Golden State with more depth, more experience, and more firepower, those two can't single-handedly win games. Mirotic will continue to have a big offensive output. Starter for starter, let's face it, the Pelicans match up very well with the Warriors minus Steph Curry. But it's the depth where Golden State has the advantage, where the Pelicans have Solomon Hill, Etwan Moore, Darius Miller. Golden State has Iguodala, Livingston, David West, proven playoff performers, and I expect that's where Golden State will have the edge early on in this series. I know I had previously mentioned that I feel Steph Curry will be ready for Game 1, but maybe that's wishful thinking. I don't know any better than any of you do. I expect a long and grueling series where Golden State is pushed to the brink, but ultimately the great neutralizer will show itself in Steph Curry. Adding to his legend, expect the chef to bail Golden State out late in 7.